Talking to the moon, trying to get to you. In hopes you're on the other side, talking to me too. Or am I a fool who sits alone, talking to the moon? I'm feeling like I'm famous, the talk of the town. They say I've gone mad, yeah, I've gone mad. But they don't know what I know, 'cause when the sun goes down, someone's talking back. Yeah, they're talking back. Somewhere out there, somewhere far.
Delegates, please start taking your seats. We're about to start. Thank you very much. Remember not to leave any seats empty, okay? Just try to sit without leaving any chair empty. Otherwise, you will not be able to find a seat. Sorry.
Remember the taste of my love. Will your eyes still smile from your cheek? Darling, I will be loving you till we're 70. And baby, my heart could still fall as hard at 23. And I'm thinking about how people fall in love in mysterious ways. Maybe just the touch of a hand. Well, me, I fall in love with you every single day. And I just wanna tell you I am. So honey, now take me into your loving arms. Kiss me under the light of 1,000.
Thanks. All right, delegates, please. Thank you very much for your attention. Welcome to the 12th edition of the Change Your World MUN Emirates. Thanks. I am very glad to start introducing this opening ceremony before giving the floor to our guests and launching some videos that you may find very useful. I'd like to first, of course, thank the Anwar Gargash Diplomatic Academy for their warm hospitality. Thank you very much. So before giving the floor to our guests, I'd like to launch a video for you that will explain a little bit better the history of Change the World Academy and Associazioni Diplomatici. So please enjoy the video and enjoy our opening ceremony.
It all began in Catania, Sicily, at the dawn of the new millennium. Claudio Colpino, driven by a powerful vision, founded Associazioni Diplomatici, a vision built on the belief that young people should be empowered with the skills and knowledge to lead in an increasingly globalized world. What started as a humble initiative quickly grew into something much greater. After its first event in New York City in 2001, Diplomatici's mission began to transcend borders, uniting young minds from every corner of the world. By 2012, Change the World Model United Nations was born. What began as a model UN program for youth would soon become the most prestigious forum of its kind. A place where students became diplomats, stepping into the shoes of those who shaped the future of our world. In 2016, Diplomatici achieved an extraordinary milestone. It earned consultative status with ECOSOC, the United Nations' highest recognition for non-governmental organizations. This was more than just a validation of the work already accomplished. It marked the beginning of a new chapter, one that would see Diplomatici receives over 150,000 applications every year. Over the years, Diplomatici has connected with some of the most influential figures who share its mission. World leaders, heads of state and government, renowned journalists, artists, and some of the most iconic figures in sports history. Then came 2020, a year that tested the world in ways we could never have imagined. But Diplomatici did not stop. It adapted, transitioning seamlessly to virtual events. Thousands of students from across the globe joined Change the World online, proving that when passion leads the way, no challenge is too great. From this experience, and with the strong desire for a fresh start, we created Change the World Academy. A bold new chapter begins. More students, more countries, more innovative ways to shape the change makers of tomorrow. Today, over 150,000 students connect with Diplomatici and change the world every year, with more than 10,000 participating in conferences around the globe. From the vibrant streets of Abu Dhabi to the skyscrapers of New York, from the romantic boulevards of Paris to the historic halls of Rome, and the extraordinary views of Singapore, young change makers continue to gather, engaging with global leaders, learning and inspiring one another. Change the World Academy is guided by its leadership committee, made up of impressive institutional leaders, such as Michael Müller, Sarge Telle, and Salvatore Caruba as its chairman, who has been guiding our growth since 2012 and pushing our vision to new heights. We are also proud to have Marco Tardelli as a Goodwill Ambassador, supporting our mission to empower the next generation of global changemakers. Today, Change the World and Diplomatici bring together an unstoppable, vibrant community of nearly 1 million students and alumni. United by a common mission, they are creating a better, a more just world. Change the World Academy, powered by Diplomatici. Life-changing experiences.
Delegates. Yes, now, yes, no? Yes, okay. Delegates, hello and welcome again to this opening ceremony of the Change the World Emirates. We're very happy and a bit emotional of having you all here, this room fully packed, and thank you all for being here. We want to start this ceremony by introducing a guest that could not come directly here in the Emirates, so she recorded a brief video. I'm very happy to introduce the video of Her Excellency, the Minister of University and Research of the Italian Republic, Anna Maria Bernini. So let's enjoy this brief welcome video and then let's start our ceremony. Thank you.
Honorable delegates, esteemed guests, and leaders of tomorrow, I'm glad to address you today in Abu Dhabi at the Change the World Model United Nations Emirates 2025. Thanks to the vision of Claudio Corbino, this conference, one more, celebrates the strength of diplomacy and dialogue to shape our common future. As Minister of University and Research of Italy, I am convinced that knowledge is our most powerful tool. It goes beyond political, economic, or technological power because it is the foundation to excel in every field. Through education, we learn to understand perspectives beyond our own, and through research, we find solutions to the challenges of our times. But education and research do not stop at national borders. Without international cooperation, we cannot move forward. Italy is therefore promoting collaborations abroad while attracting students and researchers from across the world. Progress happens when minds meet across frontiers. Italy is proud to be both a scientific and a cultural powerhouse. We combine innovation with tradition, science with humanities, because progress without human values is incomplete. This balance is urgent today as disruptive innovation like ALAN, quantum technologies, transform our societies. Technology is a powerful resource, but it must be guided by ethics and responsibility. And this responsibility is in our hands. I encourage you, engage, listen, build connections that last beyond this conference. The friendship and ideas you share here may become the foundation for the new and smart solutions that the world needs. Thank you to you all.
Thank you to the Minister Bernini. Delegates, I'm very happy to start officially with the first speaker of this opening ceremony of the Change the World Emirates by introducing the person that had the vision of creating incubator, a place where young, talented minds like yours could work together towards a new world, to create a new world. That's why the conference has been called Change the World. So with an enormous round of applause, let's welcome here on stage our CEO and founder, Claudio Corbino.
Wow, delegate, it's very impressive to see you in this so come si dice affollata, crowded, packed. Welcome to each one of you in our 12th edition of Change the World Model UN. I would like to begin by expressing my heartfelt gratitude to the Ansvar Gargash Diplomatic Academy for this wonderful welcome. It's a deep honor to be here today. And of course, to the General Director, Nikolai Madlenov, thank you. I'd like to extend my thanks to our guests and speakers, and especially to Mr. Bernardino Leon. It's a very great honor to have you again in our conference. And of course, to my great friends, to our great team, to Mirta Merlino, of course, Marco Tardelli, Chiara Boni, Tania Cagnotto, Fabio, of course, and my fantastic staff. Where is Alessandro? I don't know. Thanks to Alessandro, of course. So it's a great emotion for me. And this is a conference for you guys, and the following days are dedicated to you. Over the next few days, we will be guests of a truly remarkable country. A nation that has built its modern identity on tolerance, inclusion, and coexistence. The United Arab Emirates stands as a shining example of what humanity can achieve when guided by a clear vision. A vision rooted in respect, innovation, and the belief that differences can be turned into strength. As we gather here, let us remember that the things which make us different are not barriers between us, guys. They are bridges, connections that remind us that we all belong to a single great humanity. And yet we cannot ignore the pain of the world around us. We cannot remain indifferent to the tragedies that in the last 2 years have shaken the Middle East, of course, not to the wars and divisions still burning in the heart of Europe and in many other parts of the globe. To be honest, we are handing over to you, the young people of today, a world that is wounded and uncertain. But not hopeless, guys, not hopeless. Because the hope now are you. Because you come here from every corner of the world, because you believe in something greater, because you believe that change is possible, because you want to build a new world. In these days, you will learn, debate, and challenge one another. You will practice critical thinking, empathy, conflict resolution, and the art of listening, guys. You are not just delegates, you are future leader, you are game changer. And you are here to learn how to be better adults. Better adults than we have been, of course. The extraordinary possibility of our time, from artificial intelligence to the technological revolution reshaping our societies, must become tools for peace, not weapons of divisions. We must learn to reject conflict, to build peace through understanding, and to recognize that true strength lies in dialogue and in compromise, guys, in the art of compromise. Let us remember always to speak to people's heart while training our minds. Especially, I love this concept. Let us disarm our words. Disarm our words. So that one day, the world may disarm its weapons. Because the future, guys, our future is not written. It's built by those who have the courage to imagine it together. And I'm very happy to say this in a day as today, where we are happy to underline the 18th anniversary of the United Nations. In the coming days, you will champion the role of multilateral diplomacy, of dialogue among nations, and of the deep conviction that only through dialogue can we find lasting solutions. When we stop talking, our words turn into weapons. And when dialogue ends, war begins. diplomacy and politics are not perfect, of course. They have their limits, and they have made mistakes, a lot of mistakes probably. They are handing us a world that is deeply flawed, but without politics and diplomacy, peace cannot exist. And when politics fails and diplomacy dies, sooner or later, guys, we will face a soldier. So that is why the exercise of democracy, the practice of freedom you will experience here in the next few days, must not end when this conference ends. Make it a model for your everyday life. Always seek dialogue. Do not fear those who are different from you, and never hesitate to express your opinions. Do it with respect, and knowing that your opinion is not more important than others, yet is still worth defending. Do it with passion, humility, and courage. Let this experience be the cornerstone of your life missions, to seek the right compromise, to seek the right compromise. Every time you relinquish a part of your interest to make room for the interests of others, you broaden your perspectives, strengthen your position, and gain an ally instead of an enemy. Every time you achieve a fair compromise, you change the world for the better, guys. Every time. Of course, I have no ready-made solutions to offer you and no magic formulas, but I can tell you this: study. Guys, study. Observe the world with passion and curiosity, and always, once again, seek the best possible compromise. Thank you very much, guys. Enjoy this conference. Enjoy your time. Change the world is for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Delegates, it is now my great honor and pleasure to introduce to this opening ceremony His Excellency Nikolai Mladenov, Director General of the Anwar Gargash Diplomatic Academy, which is hosting us today, as you know. Mr. Mladenov is an accomplished diplomat, former United Nations Special Coordinator for the Middle East peace process, as well as former Minister of Foreign Affairs and Defense of Bulgaria. We warmly thank the Anwar Gargash Diplomatic Academy once again, and Mr. Mladenov for their hospitality and for welcoming the Change the World Academy to this prestigious institution, a true center of excellence for dialogue, diplomacy, and peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those kind words, and dear Claudio, thank you very much to you and your team for bringing this amazing group of young people to the Academy for a second time. I'm really happy this year that among us we have a very important person, somebody who I've been honored to call a friend and a colleague in many different situations, in the European Union, in the United Nations, somebody who was very much at the heart of the founding of these very institutions, the Anwar Gargash Diplomatic Academy, or the Emirates Diplomatic Academy, it was previously known. Someone who is one of the best diplomats that Europe has offered to the world. Bernardino Leon, thank you very much for being here with us. Welcome back home to the Academy. I must say that I always get emotional when I speak to your group, because it is really inspiring to see so many young people sitting in this room, knowing that amongst you, somewhere out there, someone, because of the next couple of days, is going to be inspired. Inspired to dedicate their life to the pursuit of peace, to negotiations, to diplomacy, to changing the world, and to making life better. And I'm sure, I hope everybody is inspired, but I hope at least some of you take that from this conference in the next coming days and make it into your life's mission. Because the world today needs more people who are dedicated to peace, who are dedicated to dialogue, to understanding others, and to diplomacy than it has needed for a very, very long time until now. Here in the Academy, we teach our young future diplomats to look at the world not as a scary place, where everything is falling apart and things are changing and it's dramatic and dangerous. It is dangerous, by the way, but we have to also look at it as opportunities to create something better, something much more innovative, something that reflects the values and the principles that you hold dear, you, the young people of the world today, something that learns from the mistakes of the past and works to avoid them. You know, today we're at the 80th anniversary of the United Nations. Just a couple of days ago in this room, we had a very interesting debate on the past and the future of the United Nations. 80 years ago, the UN came together and was formed to avoid the tragedies and the horror of the Second World War. And principles were enshrined in the Charter, human rights, institutions were built that allowed countries and continue to allow them to come together today for dialogue and to resolve their conflicts peacefully, sometimes successfully, sometimes less successfully. But looking forward to the next 80 years, what in the world of today do we need to learn from in order to make the future United Nations more effective and more responsive to the challenges that we face today? What are the changes that we need to make to the institutions? What are the rules that we need to perhaps write? 80 years ago, when people met, the delegates met in San Francisco, they had no idea that their children would be, or grandchildren would be sitting in fora like this with their smartphones and ChatGPT and Gemini and artificial intelligence and Instagram and social media and Snapchat and everything that today we take for granted, but it is shaping our world. Should we think how we need to regulate this emerging field of artificial intelligence to make sure that it supports the best of our character and the best of our abilities? Or should we just give up and continue fighting? Fighting for our identities, fighting for our histories, fighting for our claims to the past. Where are we going to get if we go down that road? We're going to destroy a lot of what has been built and what is inspired generations for the last 80 years to avoid war. So I think when we look forward, we need to really, really not just lecture the young people that are in this room, but listen to you and hear from you. Not just listen, but hear from you. Ideas of how and what needs to be thought about in order to design the world in which you will be our age with Bernardino, our age and our positions, and how that world is going to look better. But what we can take from our own experience, I think, is also very important. Compromise, a key word that was mentioned before. Compromise is extremely, extremely important. Dialogue and understanding, critically important. You need to be able to see the world how others see it, understand their perspective, understand what drives them, understand their fears, understand their hopes if you hope to achieve compromise and agreement. Compromise and agreement are not enough. We need to be able to understand also history. Because history today, as always, has shaped who we are, shapes our identities, shapes our visions of the future, shapes very much how we understand the reality in which we live. If we understand history, if we look and seek to achieve compromise, if we focus on dialogue, I bet you we can really change the world. Maybe it's wrong to say we, but I bet you can really change the world. And I hope that in the next couple of days, in everything that you're going to be doing here in Abu Dhabi, and in the whole program of Change the World, that is amazing that it has been now had, 12 or 13 sessions happening. A whole generation of people is emerging that focuses on these values that Claudio spoke about and that are built into this program. Really welcome We're very, very happy to have you here. We hope you enjoy Abu Dhabi, you enjoy the United Arab Emirates. It is an amazing country. Honestly, I can frankly say there's no other like it. A country that really focuses on its traditions. There they are, my friends. A country that doesn't fear the future, but knows where it stands. And a country that is quietly proud of what it has achieved and the difficulties that it has gone through in its generations. Really, there's a lot to learn from just walking the streets from Abu Dhabi, from meeting young Emiratis who are here with you, from engaging with them, and I think you're going to have an amazing time. And hopefully we'll see you back here in Abu Dhabi soon after that, and maybe some of you will also come here as lecturers and professors in the academy. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much, His Excellency. So, I'm going to introduce now the next speakers, but it's going to be a panel. But His Excellency Mladenov stole a lot of words to present the next speaker, but it's very nice. My fellow delegates, I'm very happy to introduce here on stage the first panel of this opening session, and I'm deeply honored to introduce Mr. Bernardino Leon, a distinguished European and Spanish diplomat, former European Union Special Representative for the Southern Mediterranean, as well as former United Nations Special Representative and head of the UN Support Mission in Libya. With his extensive experience in international diplomacy and conflict resolution, he has played definitely a pivotal role in promoting dialogue and peace across the Mediterranean region and the Middle East. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome with an enormous round of applause Bernardino Leon. That will be introduced by Mirta Merlino, a journalist, a television host, a writer, and most of all, a dearest and special friend of the Change the World Academy. Thank you, Mirta. Please, the floor is yours. Let's welcome them. Thank you.
Hello, thank you, Alessandro. Hello to everybody. We are really happy to be here with all these young people, all these students from all over the world. It's a great pleasure, and it's a great pleasure, I have to say, interviewing Bernardino Leon, because he has an incredible experience and a great vision of Middle East. And so talking about what's happening now in this area of the world with him, it's really very interesting for us. Since the end of the Second World War, despite of the effort made globally to preserve peace, we have to say that Middle East has always been a sort of powder keg of the world. And decades of conflicts, and the main players has been, as you know, Israel and the Arab countries, and then in the last year, Israel, the Palestine National Authority, and Hamas. And if Balkans have always been the powder keg for Europe, we can say that Middle East is a power keg for the world. And after the ongoing conflict between Palestine and Gaza, going since the October 7, now we can see that finally it came to an end. We don't know how this peace will go on. We don't know. We know that it's fragile. We know we have to defend it. But in this moment, it's very important to talk about the Sharm peace plan. I mean, what Trump succeed to do in this area of the world. And as we said, Bernardino Leon has served as Chief of State, as Secretary of State of Foreign Affairs of Spain, Chief of Staff for the Prime Minister, and he was both. Before was a representative and the head of United Nations Support Mission in Libya, and then representative for Southern Mediterranean countries for European Union. So, I mean, I think you were amongst the negotiator in the most advanced stage of dialogue between Israel and Palestine. So you know very well this area of the world. And the first question I want to do is what can we expect from the Middle East in light of the Trump's peace plan for Gaza?
Well, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I really can't express with words what pleasure is to be in front of such a talented group of people. I don't know who of you, but I am pretty sure that the future Secretary General of the United Nations is sitting somewhere around. So, and equally, it's an enormous pleasure to be back to this place, which was my home for
it's a coming home for you.
It's coming home, and to greet Nikolai Mladenov, who I have considered always a mentor since we met when he was foreign minister in 2010 and in Bulgaria, and he was already organizing meetings and discussions because he always wanted to do diplomacy with a very strong reflection behind. So someone I admire a lot. This place is a world leader thanks to his guidance. And equally I want to thank Claudio and his organization. Now, very quickly to answer your question, I don't want anyone to think that I'm going to other topics to avoid answering your question, as good diplomats do. Whenever you are asked something you don't want to answer, then you can spend 10 minutes talking about something else and then answer the question very briefly. Look, I think this agreement is very important. So the first thing I would like to say is that we should not downplay its importance. It's been a very long war. It's been probably the war with the highest cost in terms of human lives, of destruction. We can remember for many years in the region, and this agreement has put an end to the war. We see a very serious commitment of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, to personally guarantee that it will be implemented. So, very important agreement, no doubt. Now, the answer to your question will depend on how this agreement, which is very clear in the first stage, will evolve in further stages. And this is the real challenge. Ceasefire is difficult and challenging as it is, but is already there, and hostages are back. Israeli forces have withdrawn, and Palestinian prisoners in Israeli prisons have already been handed to the Palestinian Authority and back to the West Bank and Gaza. So what about the future? And this is where the big question marks are, and this is what will determine the future of the region. As Nikolai knows very well, because he was UN envoy to the region, and he was involved in very important negotiations at the time. Probably you said before that when I was in the years of the Oslo Agreement, that was the most advanced peace agreement, but also at the time Nikolai was there, there were equally very advanced agreements, and he was personally involved in these discussions. So these second, third stages are crucial. And what, if I can say, I think it could have been important to have more diplomats in the room. And as Nikolai said in his words, diplomats provide very important aspects, and this is why diplomacy matters. Nikolai mentioned the sense of history, but also the sense of complexity. I'm sure there is something all of you in this hall have experienced, which is whenever someone in your family or someone, a friend, a colleague at your school asks, can you explain me what is going on in Ukraine, or can you explain me what is going on in the Middle East? I cannot understand, because they know that all of you are interested in this kind of issues, and you are able already to give an explanation. This understanding of complexity is very important, and I'm not going to say that the people involved in this agreement are naive. They are not. But they are, some of them are not diplomats, and they don't have this sense of history. They don't have this sense of complexity. They don't have a sense of statehood, which is so important when it comes to this type of agreements. But diplomats also provide a technical understanding of how an agreement can be implemented, how to organize the stages, how to guarantee the different steps. Diplomats have an understanding of what trust means, and they provide a human vision for agreement. So all these aspects could have been stronger in the agreement. When we think of stage 2, stage 3, we have a lot of double-edged aspects. Conditionality, for instance. It is very important that we condition every step to the implementation by each side of their commitments. But this conditionality at the same can become a problem, and we have seen cases in the past. Governance. Governance is explained in the agreement as something that has to be balanced between internal and international support. But also there is an issue with legitimacy, which is going to appear sooner or later. Financing, there is, reconstruction of Gaza is a very important aspect of this agreement, but we still don't have details on who is going to finance what, etc., etc. So we have a number of question marks. I very much hope that it will be successful, that at the end of the day, the region will overcome these crises. And then the region will have to decide whether they start introducing creative ideas. The region cannot continue with the old days diplomacy and crisis management. There are many bold ideas that have been discussed and using UN Security Council resolutions, and here we have a lot of experts who will help in the future to shape those resolutions, if this is the formula. We have been talking about a NATO in the Middle East, about a Helsinki conference style in the Middle East. Definitely we need bold ideas, we need new ideas. The region has changed enormously. And sorry for the long answer, but we keep thinking of...
It's a complex matter, I know very well.
When I think of the Middle East crisis, we tend to talk about it as there is a line, and the actors are there, the crises are pretty similar, but the region has changed and the world has changed enormously. And the Middle East crisis that these future diplomats will be dealing with will be completely different. 1948 or the 1950s with the Suez War and the Attrition War were colonial wars. These were wars of the 19th century, with colonial powers, the United Kingdom, France involved. And the Suez War is when the United States and the Soviet Union said no more colonial wars in this region. Then we had 67 and 73. These are 20th century wars, typically 20th century wars, post-colonial. But then we had the Intifada, Then we have the Lebanon war, the different wars in southern Lebanon and in Gaza, and they have been 21st century wars. The actors involved in 1948 were all states: Israel and the Arab states surrounding Israel, Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria. In all these recent wars, we have non-state actors, including Gaza. Hamas is not a state. Hamas is a non-state actor. Who could have imagined in the 1940s, 1950s, that we would see wars of non-state actors against states? You know how many people live in our part of the world under non-state actors? 60 million people, run by, not by states, but by non-state actors. And we don't have a system to deal with them. And while we are trying to develop a system to deal with these non-state actors, new type of crises are going to come, and these guys here will have to deal with them in a different way, because they will be different in their nature. But still, I think these bold ideas of a different structure in the region with talented diplomats will finally bring peace and stability to the region.
Thank you. It's very interesting what you said also about the big change we are going through. And I have two questions for you. You are a European leader and you worked for the United Nations. So Donald Trump in the Israel-Gaza conflict put again the United States at the center of the stage. Your friend and fellow diplomat Giampiero Massolo said in a recent interview that Trump aims to silence weapons through America's strength and others' weaknesses. And Europe is now in his hands. So what about Europe? European Union is no longer an important actor in the international arena, in your opinion, or we can still play an important role? This is the first question. Then I have a question about the United Nations too.
Well, Europe is no doubt one of the most important actors in international relations. It is the most important internal market in the world, and this gives Europe an enormous strength. Is one of the most important, if not the most important, humanitarian actor, and in terms of human rights, welfare state, you know, the European, what we call the European style of life, and there is even a commissioner now for the European style of life, is appreciated around the world as the model for many states. So Europe is no doubt very important. Now, Europe is not a state, and we should not have this conversation as comparing the European Union to the United States or to Russia or to China and saying, no, Europe is not important. Europe still doesn't have all the competences in foreign policy. These competences belong to states. And this is why you will see, if you go around this neighborhood, which is the diplomatic neighborhood in Abu Dhabi, you will see the embassy of Italy, the embassy of France, of Spain, of the different European countries. And then you will see the European flag together with their national flags, and then the European Union embassy. So, and people will say, what is this? What does it mean? The European Union has one embassy for the whole European Union and then embassies for each state. And this is because foreign policy still is a competence mostly for member states and only in some aspects for the European Union. So we cannot compare these two models. We are work in progress. What is important is that since the 70s, through the European Common Act, through the different treaties in Nice, in Amsterdam, Copenhagen, through the Lisbon Treaty, we see an evolution where Europe is getting more and more competences. But we are not yet there, and so we should not compare one and the other. Europe has been a very important actor in the Middle East, has been moving from what we used to call in the 90s, we used to say others are players, Europe are payers, because it's true. We were not that often in the negotiating table, but we were supporting financially agreements that others made. This is changing, and Europe has been more active in political agreements. Now it's true that President Trump is not a great fan of the European Union. I cannot repeat his words about the European Union because some of the expressions he used were not very diplomatic. But I think, you know, down the road when this agreement will have to be implemented, more, as I said before, more diplomats will have to be part of it, and the European Union will also have to be more active there.
You served as a UN Special Representative. Nikolai Mladenov told us about a debate here in this room about the past and future of United Nations. And what I wanted to ask you is, does United Nations still have the tools to be effective, an effective actor today?
The short answer is that the world needs the United Nations. We cannot imagine a world without the United Nations. No doubt. Now, the long answer is we need to adapt the United Nations, and this is not a secret. The Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Antonio Guterres, is himself leading this exercise called UN 80. You know, the international organizations were created because there are problems in the world that cannot be solved by states, no matter how powerful these states are, including the greatest powers. They cannot solve these problems by themselves. Think of, you know, climate change, pandemics, as we have seen in recent years, migration. You know, these are huge, huge challenges. No country can deal with them successfully without the support of others. So since modern international organizations were created, and the oldest of the modern organizations is the Rhine River, the Danube River Confederation, which was immediately replicated at the Rhine. Why did countries in these rivers needed to work together? Because if something is wrong in the Danube River in a country upstream, this problem will go on and will affect other countries downstream. So international organizations are created to solve problems and to develop international law, to develop international rules, and in the case of the United Nations, to deal with human rights. All this incredible work that has been done since the Declaration of Human Rights was approved in the United Nations, with all these courts around the world, all these standards and rules. We still have today problems like refugees, like development and social cohesion, like elections. The United Nations has these electoral delegations in countries in challenging situations. So it is imperfect, it needs adaptation, it is not going to be easy politically and financially. It's going to require a huge effort from the Secretary General, but it has the tools, and it is the only United Nations we have. So, and we cannot imagine a world without them. So we will have to, they will have to succeed, and we will all have to be part of that effort.
I have two more very brief questions for you. One, it's about global energy transition. You lived in Abu Dhabi, you know very well the Emirates, and how do you think the global energy transition is affecting the region's political balance? What's changing?
Well, it's a very interesting question indeed in this country, because the UAE has understood very well that we needed to think of a different world for many reasons. And it is a paradox and also testament of a good diplomacy, how a country which has the fifth oil reserves in the world is a leader in renewable energy. And they were competing, and they were successful in bringing the headquarters of IRENA, the International Organization for Renewable Energies, to Abu Dhabi. And they have projects like Masdar City. They recently hosted the COP, the Conference of Parties, and managed to succeed in agreements in a very challenging context. So there is a very strong renewable energy or green energy diplomacy in this country. Now, this is now in this transition is not going to be easy, and we probably are seeing now in countries like the United States or in the European Union less stronger commitment, but still my personal view is that the problem is not going to disappear, and we will still have to face weather transformation, floods, natural disasters, and we will have to work together. No state will be able to do it. There is a moment of certain skepticism, but I am absolutely convinced that countries that are still working and will continue to work on renewable energy diplomacy are on the right side of history, and we will return to a very strong climate change diplomacy, not because it's coming from a group of people, from a progressive way of thinking. It has nothing to do with that. It's just a way to solve the most serious challenge and the most serious problem humanity has today.
Our time is over, but I have a last question for you. As Nikolai Madlovron said, a lot of these young students here could be diplomats of tomorrow. And so if you could give one piece of advice to the future diplomats who will work in the Middle East, what would it be?
Look, diplomacy is exactly this. Diplomacy is a group of people, friends. It doesn't matter what nationality, what region, what religion you're coming from, because you are in this permanent structure, dealing with people on a permanent basis. Whenever crises come, they can manage crisis because they know each other, and they can call each other, and they can solve problems diplomatically. So let me give you very briefly an example. When I was Secretary of State, we had a very serious problem with one of our neighboring countries. And the crisis was going to happen no matter what. We knew it was coming. And the Secretary of State in that country happened to be an old colleague from university. Same as it will happen in 20 years to people in this room. So I called him. Because we're friends, we know each other for such a long time. He knows that he could trust me, and I knew I could trust him. And I told him, this is going to happen. Let us imagine how we can solve this. And we agreed that after the crisis, they will call their ambassador, then we would call our ambassador. They would spend a few weeks at home. we would make some statements in the media saying how unhappy we are about the other one. And after a few weeks, diplomats and ambassadors would return to their capitals. And it happened that way. You know, this trust is the most important treasure that diplomats have. So my advice here is start solving crises that will happen in 20 years now. Become friends of all those future diplomats that will be dealing with you with very serious crises in the future. And then, when crises happen, make sure that there is always a diplomat in the room.
Thank you very much. It was a beautiful example, I have to say, that tell us that also in this digital time, human relations are still powerful, and this is really beautiful. So thank you very much. Muchas gracias, Bernardino León. It was a great pleasure.
Thank you very much. So we're now ready for our second and last panel of this opening ceremony. So before introducing the exact guests of our last panel, I'd like to launch 2 videos explaining who they are, why we think that their contribution really can be invaluable to our conferences and for you as well, of course. So please enjoy the videos.
Gea. Tardelli. Gol, gol. Tardelli, raddoppio. Tardelli. Uno splendido gol di Tardelli. Campioni del mondo, campioni del mondo. L'Italia ha vinto la finale battendo la Germania per 3-1.
All right, so now that you have watched this video, it's just a very brief introduction. So, first video, as you know, Miss Tania Cagnotto, Italy's most successful diver, Olympic medalist, and multiple world and European champion. Her career stands as a testament to discipline, courage, and resilience, values that perfectly align with the mission of the Change the World Academy. And, of course, for the 100th time, I think, this year with us, our Goodwill Ambassador, Mr. Marco Tardelli, one of the greatest icons in the history of football, World Cup winner in 1982, and symbol of passion, teamwork, and determination. Beyond sports, he has become a voice for youth education and social engagement, inspiring generations with his example of integrity and leadership. So together they will share their reflections on sports as a universal language of peace, education, and personal growth. A big round of applause to our fellow speakers.
Thank you. In questa non lo so, tanti, non so in questa quanti sono, non lo so. Adesso. So delegates, this is definitely the most emotional moment, as you know, of our conference, because as you clearly understand, I am here with two amazing sport champions. Tania is the greatest Italian diver of all time, and a very wonderful friend of mine, great friends of Change the World Academy and Diplomatici. She always brought so much humility and humanity to our events. So I'm very, very glad to have Tania once again with us, and I hope that it will be possible to have in New York, in Singapore, in Rome, in every other conference, because it's fantastic to stay with you every year. And Marco Tardelli. Marco is a role model for me. He's a master. He's I'm a very lucky man to have the possibility to meet Marco in my life. He's a legend, as you know, and you know.
Terrible.
You know, guys, like every Italian kid, I grew up chasing a football, and like every from my generation, dreaming of being Marco Tardelli. So I'm very grateful to Marco and to Tania for this moment, and I will do to them a couple of questions, and then we will very happy to have the question from you delegates, your suggestion, your ideas about sport, about this fantastic champion with us. So the first question is, diving is an individual sport, while football is a team one, of course. Marco, have you ever felt lonely playing football? And the question for Tania is, Tania, have you ever felt the need to share some of the responsibility with someone else?
No, la solitudine non l'ho mai sentita in mezzo al campo, perché siamo in tanti. Però ci sono stati dei momenti in cui, nei momenti nei quali commetti degli errori, che prima siamo tutti insieme, quando commetti degli errori magari rimani solo perché nessuno si avvicina, come è capitato magari a Cabrini nel rigore del mondiale.
Facciamo tradurre nel frattempo Federica, così diamo un po' di tempo ai ragazzi.
Sì.
No, I never felt lonely, as soccer is in fact a team sport, but perhaps there are some moments when you make mistakes. Yes, there is when you can feel lonely because victory is for the team while mistakes, yeah, they are individual.
E credo che quelli sono i momenti in cui noi abbiamo proprio bisogno dell'abbraccio dei compagni, ma il nostro sport e lo sport d'Italia sono completamente diversi perché iniziano in maniera diversa. Quello d'Italia è io, quello del calcio invece siamo noi, usiamo sempre il noi perché siamo in tanti. E comunque è una cosa stupenda riuscire a giocare a calcio e arrivare a fare quello che vuoi fare.
Okay. Our sports are very different, football and diving, because diving is based on the I pronoun, while in football we are a team, so we is the pronoun. Anyway, I think that it's amazing to being able to play football at a professional level and achieve your dreams.
Hello to everyone. Thank you, Claudio, for inviting me again. It's always a pleasure and an honor to be here in front of you all. Every year more students, so it's beautiful really to stay here. And yes, like Marco said, there are two very different sports, and I started, of course, by myself, and the first year in diving, it was only an individual sport. Then I got the chance in 2009 to discover what means to have also a synchro partner, so sort of a team sport. And I really enjoyed it, and I learned a lot of things. Even before, when I was individual diving, you had, of course, your team, your teammates that were cheering usually on for you, but not always. It's not sure that the teammates always want to that you go better than them. So, but you have your team, your coach, your physiotherapist, your athletic preparation, and so it's kind of a team. But when I started to dive with Francesca, it was me and her on the trampoline, and the trust that I had to put in her and she in me, it's one of the strongest feelings that I had in my life, because it felt like something unique. You had to dive together, you had to understand each other, like a marriage. It was really like a marriage, because we lived together for years. I seen her more than my husband, so we had a really, really strong bondage, and I'm thankful to have had the chance to experience also this kind of discipline in my sport, but because it learned me a lot, even later in life, of respect from each other, and win and lose together. There never was a fault of someone. We always win or lose together.
Thank you, Tania. Thank you, Marco. The last question from me, and then we will take the podium to the guys. So you have both won pretty much everything there is to win. So the question is, which victory taught you the most, and which defeat?
Allora, la vittoria è veramente molto importante per noi dello sport, perché lavoriamo per questo, però non sempre impari dalla vittoria delle cose che impari nella sconfitta. La sconfitta io quando ho ricevuto delle sconfitte anche importanti, perché ho perso una Coppa dei Campioni a Bruxelles in maniera molto drammatica, abbiamo perso, cioè scusa, no, a Bruxelles abbiamo vinto, ma per me non è mai stata una vittoria. Io non sento quella Coppa dei Campioni, ne ho persa una ad Atene, abbiamo perso una ad Atene e è stato molto pesante, e dopo quella sconfitta io credo di aver pensato molto a come è avvenuta, a perché è avvenuta, e ho imparato molto da quella sconfitta, tanto che poi abbiamo fatto anche qualcosa di importante dopo. Io ritengo che il nostro calcio, il calcio che ho giocato io durante la mia carriera, sia stato un calcio che mi ha insegnato molto, mi ha insegnato il rispetto dell'avversario, mi ha insegnato moralmente cosa vuol dire fare dello sport, mi ha insegnato a diventare un padre migliore, perché si diventa anche un padre migliore con lo sport, e credo che tutti noi dovremmo farlo sempre nel segno del rispetto dell'avversario, perché è importante riconoscere l'avversario anche nella battaglia. Io forse mi fermo perché se no lei deve...
Okay, so winning is important in sport for sure, but defeat is a better teacher. I've lost once a world championship in Athens, and after that I thought, together with my team, a lot about the reasons why we lost that match. And we tried so hard to learn from it, so not to make that mistakes again, ever. Soccer taught me a lot in terms of respect, values, passion, sacrifices. It taught me also how to become a better man. So I think this is the most important thing about it.
In quella Coppa dei Campioni che abbiamo vinto, fra virgolette, a Bruxelles, forse ha perso tutto lo sport. Quella è stata una serata indimenticabile per me, e da lì abbiamo anche voluto ricominciare a cercare di fare qualcosa di meglio, ma sono cose che non dovrebbero mai accadere e purtroppo accadono, e spero che i ragazzi del futuro, che sono anche questi, che vogliono anche, probabilmente potrebbero diventare anche dei giocatori di calcio, no? Qualcuno ci sarà che gioca a calcio e magari anche bene, che lavorino su uno sport diverso, uno sport che porta qualcosa all'anima invece di uno sport dove porta solo soldi.
Okay. There was another moment in my life when, together with my team, I won the World Championship in Brussels, but there were so many issues happening that we were not really happy nor satisfied of winning the championship in that way. So what I do wish for you is that you can all be engaged in sports in different levels, different ways, to learn from it, from its values, from the respect it brings with itself, and play the sport for the sake of it, not just for money.
Just to clarify, guys, Marco Tardelli spoke about the final of Champions League 1985, where unfortunately there was a very incredible tragedy. There was an explosion of incredible violence against especially the Italian supporters, and in that occasion died 39 Italian supporters of Juventus. Marco and the other football player of Juventus and the Liverpool, they didn't know what was happened before the match, so they played the match for security reasons, of course, and Juventus won the cup. But Marco love underline how this cup is not for him a real victory, because it's impossible to speak of victory when 39 people died for a football match. So this is the reason, because Marco talk in this way of the final champions of 1985. In the 1983, unfortunately, the Juventus lost the final against Hamburgo. It's incredible, but this is sport. Okay. Tanya.
Of course, who doesn't like to win? So it's, of course, everyone wants to win, and it's the most important goal that you have. But it maybe can sound weird, but if I think what makes me more proud of my whole career and what made me more emotional in all these years, I think back in London 2012, when it was supposed to be probably my last Olympic, my fourth one. And I was in the good age to finally achieve a bronze medal in diving, and because in diving the Chinese are always the world champions since I started diving, so bronze medal was like a gold for me. But something went wrong still today. I don't know what, because I lost the medal, 2 medals for 20 cents, and it's something very tiny that in diving never happened. So it was for sure my lowest moment and my hardest moment in my whole career. But when I think back, it's the one that I know that it has to be happened. It has to happen that so that I could achieve the last 4 years, and they were the beautiful years of my career. And one thing that I always remember with a smile is when I come back and I was in my town, just people maybe see me and they run to me and they just hug me and cried. So this was really, to know that I touched people's heart is one of the beautiful things that I probably experience in my career, even more than a medal at Olympic Games. Yeah.
Thank you, Tanya. So, delegates, there is some questions from you. I'm absolutely yes, of course. Would like to start with one question. Where are you from?
Italy,
Okay.
Milano.
Milano.
Should I speak in English or in Italian? Just because it felt more natural for me in Italian, because I...
No, in English, dai, okay.
No
English is
problems.
perfect, thank you.
So, yeah. Okay. So I played synchronized swimming since I was a baby, kinda. And I know for sure that you have to say no to a lot of things. But this is, I mean, we can talk about both sports, because my brother plays football since he was a baby too. And I always wonder how you were able to say no to all those things, because I was suffering from that. And at your levels, I mean, you had to say a lot of no's. And I know for sure that this probably was something that, was hard for you guys.
Hi. Yes, of course. It was something that I had to manage as well, especially in the adolescence, when you started going out with your friends, when you started having fun, going and being invited at parties, and of course I was the one that went home most of the time at the earliest time. So of course I suffered because I wanted to do the same things that my friends did. But I have to admit that I had also a lot of fun when I was traveling for competition. So I know that I was maybe sacrificing something at home with my friends, but I also know that what I was going to do was a lot more, was even more funner. And I like. If I think now, I would do it again. And I was very fortunate, I have to say, because I had the chance to stay in and live my life in Bolzano, my hometown. Even if I stayed 1 year in Houston, in Texas, for university, then I stayed a few months in Australia to train. But I always came home, so I could keep my friendships from my childhood, and they are still my friends now. So I was really lucky on that side. But of course, you have to make choices when you're little. But I think always if you have something that appreciates you so much, it's not so hard to renounce on or make sacrifice for other things, I think. So if you love something really, you can have fun even there as well.
Titania, I don't know if Marco vuoi aggiungere qualcosa?
Sì, tanto volevo sapere che squadra era tuo fratello. Bravo. Senti, quando mi chiedi se io ho fatto dei sacrifici per giocare a calcio, no, non li ho fatti. Non li ho fatti perché era talmente importante per me riuscire a fare una cosa che mi piaceva, che l'ho fatta anche contro i miei genitori, perché non volevano assolutamente che io giocassi a calcio, che non sentivo il sacrificio. Io avevo una grande passione, avevo quella cosa rotonda, mi aiutava a dimenticare tante cose. Io non ho avuto una famiglia agiata, insomma, sono stato un po'... Stavo bene, ero libero e quella palla mi dava quella libertà che cercavo. E sono riuscito per quello probabilmente, anche perché avevo anche qualche qualità. Però non ho mai sentito un secondo un po' di sacrificio. Non ho perso niente, credo. Penso di aver guadagnato qualcosa, non come soldi naturalmente, ma come idea della mia vita. Cioè, per me il calcio e lo sport erano importanti. Fra l'altro io correvo molto, ero molto bravo nei 400 e a un certo punto ho dovuto decidere cosa fare, perché la scuola mi chiedeva una cosa e l'allenatore del calcio mi chiedeva un'altra. Per fortuna ho deciso per il calcio. Comunque se fate sport non sentite sacrificio, è molto importante farlo, perché vi aiuta anche nella testa. Grazie.
Okay, so no, it was not a sacrifice for me. I didn't feel like giving up on anything at all. I played also against my parents' will. I was very passionate. I felt so free when playing, so I never felt as if I was losing anything at all. In fact, on the contrary, I gained a lot for my life. For me, soccer was and still is life. I went all in with it. I have no regrets. Sport is no sacrifice to me, and I hope you will discover it too.
So I asked to my demanding boss Alicia if we can have 1 more minute for the last question from students. We can have, okay? Last, two questions from students. Dai. I don't know. I can't. I can't. Scegli tu, Alice. Dai. Okay, these young ladies in second line, with the black. Yeah, perfect.
I'll be quick. I've just written the same question for both of you. My question is, does leadership come from talent or experience? What did you realize you were ready to lead others when, I'm sorry.
I think that leadership comes more from experience, I guess, and not from being a talent, because I think maybe a good athlete, it's not, it doesn't have to be also a leader, but my opinion. And yeah, but Markov maybe knows more about that.
Ma no, io credo che piano piano si possa diventare dei leader, però nasci un po' leader, perché hai un carattere, una personalità, una credibilità. Tu ti devi conquistare piano piano una grande credibilità nei tuoi... Io con i miei compagni, lei da sola perché era da sola, però credo che piano piano devi conquistartelo, e poi non c'è solo un leader. In una squadra, per esempio, di calcio non c'è solo un leader, ci sono tanti leader. Ci sono i leader silenziosi, per esempio, che non parlano ma danno l'esempio. Ci sono i leader sorridenti, quelli musoni, sono tanti leader diversi ma che formano una squadra, e soprattutto in nazionale si vede questo, si vede perché tutti hanno qualità per poter fare il leader e certamente anche una grande personalità. Però io credo che piano piano lo diventi, ma devi avere già qualcosa dentro.
Okay, so I do believe that you can grow up and become a leader, but leadership is also something that, till a certain extent, somehow you're born with. I do believe that it's something that you also conquer along the way, and in team sports especially, it's not a matter of being the one and only leader of your team. There are many leaders playing all together who make the team great. Let's think about national teams, for example. You see it that they are based, they are grounded in several different leadership, and that's the way it should be in sports.
The last question from the lady. Yeah. Please, yes. You. No, the second one, yeah. I'm sorry.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to ask, before I ask my question, I wanted to delegate this question to Tanya. Just wanted to make sure on my fact, both of your parents were Olympic swimmers, correct?
Yes, divers.
Did you feel any pressure growing up that you had to follow in their footsteps? And if so, how did you handle that pressure?
Okay. I fortunately didn't have that much pressure, because like 30 years ago, when I started, it was more easy to hide what my parents did. Like I didn't even know that my dad went to 5 Olympics and won 4 Olympic medals when I started diving. He never told me, because he doesn't want to put pressure on me. And so I just discovered it from other athletes during European Championships when I already was older. And so it was, I had the chance to start really without pressure. I know I was the daughter of Giorgio Cagnotto, but he never put me in conditions that I felt something less in confront of him. So it was easier. My parents made a good job with that. Today it would be more difficult, of course, with all media, social media that are now. So, but I really didn't feel that pressure that much.
Thank you so much. It was nice meeting you.
Thank you.
So thank you, delegates, and we have to close, I suppose. I don't know why, but I suppose that we have to close. And then I like to underline, guys, only a sport is a fundamental tools for education, especially when we have the privilege, the great privilege to meet and to stay with so fantastic persons like Tanya and Marco. They are really people more great than the champions that they were. So it's fantastic, but through the sports, it's possible to speak to the heart of young people, and then to the heart of young people we can restart our minds. This is my personal opinion, and this is why I always hope to have Marco and Tanya in our events around the world. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Marco. Thank you, thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Marco. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. Delegates, 5 seconds, okay? So now, delegates, now it's time for your conference, okay? So please go outside to take your transfers, follow your tutors, your advisors to go to the Sorbonne University. Every bus outside is going to the Sorbonne University.